So Fox Company has 1,000 subs, which I think is fabulous and well deserved. If any of you don't know Fox Company Prepping, get over there now. I'm going to put a link in the show notes below. Um, but he deserves all the subs he gets because he does a lot of videos. He's sort of compartmentalizing them now into series. He sort of sees his channel more as representing who he is. So he's got some of the, the stuff that he started his channel for, the bushcraft and survival stuff. But he's also doing other, I guess, series or mini-series or something about, I guess, the other stuff that occupies his mind. He's doing a deep web series now. And some of that stuff can get a little, I guess, intense for some people, but he's very open about, just like there's always kind of a disclaimer, so don't watch the ones that you don't think you're gonna like. He fully invites you to ignore the ones that might be a little too intense or just not what you're into, which I think is, it's good, it's candid. I like that, and I kind of like the candidness about him. Like I try to keep my language clean for this because I don't know what people are expecting. I try not to get too political. He just goes, blah, whatever's happening. He lets you have it, and he's got a filthy mouth, and I like that about him. All that to say, if you don't know Fox Company Prepping, you should check him out. You're going to find something to like. He's entertaining, he's smart. Maybe he's a little paranoid, but I don't think so. I think he just has a starkly realist view of the world. He definitely is not afraid to call bullshit on his government, and as a Canadian, I think that we could all really learn from that. We need way more people to call BS on our government, especially right now. We're not alone, man. What's going on in the UK is scary. Australia seems to be off its rocker. I just think we need more people to, I guess, speak truth to power, as the old saying goes. And maybe I'll do a video on this one day. I think that the true role of the patriot is not to wave the flag and sing the praises, it's to question governments that are making your country less good for you and the people you know and the people you don't know. Don't let a government get away with it all the time. But I try not to get political, so let's move beyond. What he wants to know for his VR, his 1,000 subscriber VR, is what's your favorite bushcraft memory? And this is a hard one for me because I feel that my favorite memories haven't happened yet. Like, any time I get into the forest is a good time. But I want to get my daughter out there with me. I want to teach her. I've already started teaching her the basics of starting a fire without matches. I mean, she's not strong enough, but she sees the action that I do, and I let her try it before I light the fire. And look, if she's not interested, then I'll just back the hell off. But I feel that I'm excited about the prospect of having her out there. I would love at some point to do a family camping trip. This year, as you guys know, has been a real bust for me. But maybe next year we'll do some camping, and maybe I'll bring the video camera. Maybe I won't. But that being said, of the stuff that I've done up until now, I've got some great memories of back in my pre-bushcraft and just sort of my more basic camping days. I have a lot of good memories of growing up, my sister and I camping with my dad when we were much younger, out in BC. A few things stand out for me. One was we were in, this is the moment actually that turned on my whatever Gaia-phile gene, or it kicked my eco self into action. Although it didn't happen right away. Something went click, and I developed over the next 10 years into who I am today. We were standing in a subalpine meadow in, I think, Manning Park, in BC. I think it was Manning, because it's a park that's gone through a lot of trouble, and I think Manning is pretty much the index case of parks going bankrupt and coming back and privatized and then not. So subalpine meadows, right? So we're up sort of on a hillside and looking down into a bowl valley, and up above there's like blue sky with these huge billowy white clouds just going way off into the distance, and you could see forever because you're on top of a small mountain. Down below in this bowl valley there was elk, I don't know, some sort of ungulate that moves in large herds, but they were so far down that they were just like little tiny animals moving in this huge dark mass, and as they moved through the bowl valley they sort of, it was like an ink spot that moved and followed the contours of the land. It was just something about that moment, up above, like you could see clouds that were a million kilometers away. And I've always been kind of like that. If I see the clouds going off into the distance, I kind of want to see what's over there, So that plus this herd of animals, it's just something graceful about the moment. And I don't know, something sort of went snap. And I didn't immediately change who I was. But stuff started to change, so that I no longer saw the forest as a place to go camping with my dad and rock hopping. I started to see something stronger there, something more basic. I don't mean basic in the simple sense. I mean basic as in the human need sense, Anyway, so that was a big moment for me, because that very much started me on the path to where I am today. Oh, there's a funny memory. My dad and sister and I used to do a lot of rock hopping. We go down to where the creeks are and the small rivers where all the rocks are, and we bounce across the rocks and get across and then back down and go down there, And this must have been Golden Ears Park, again BC. And there were these two large boulders by the side of a creek. A small river. It was deeper than a creek. Like, the water was probably up to about just below the knee, maybe. So there were these two large boulders with like a rock between the two, sort of like, which I thought was just lying there. But it wasn't. So I'm climbing over these boulders. The other two are taking the small rocks, and of course I'm a 15-year-old boy, so of course I have to take the big boulders, right? And as I'm skittering across them, there's a rock, and I kick it out from between the two boulders, and what I hadn't realized was it was jamming them together. So suddenly these two boulders start rolling into the water, and I'm on top of them, so I'm scrambling to stay on top of them. I mean, we're not talking about a huge, we're talking like they might have gone clunk, 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 or, it's like a very small distance, but when you're on top of them and scrambling to stay up there, it kind of seemed like it went on forever. So then they stop, and I stop, and I look over, and there's my dad and sister, like, looking at me, like, what are you doing, dude? So I'm just like, oh, I meant to do that. And I got down with as much dignity as I could muster and continued on my way. It's just a dangerous moment, okay, a stupid moment, but thinking on it now, half my life later, now it's funny, I was doing stuff like that all the time. It's a miracle that I'm still here. But those are where most of my best memories are from. That's something about the landscape out in BC really gets me where I live. I mean, we've got gorgeous stuff here in Quebec too, right? We got the Laurentian Mountains, and our mountains sort of go down and become the Adirondacks, right? You guys down in New York, that's just the southern extent of our mountains up here. Beautiful. Anyone in New York State knows it. Anyone in Quebec, well, southern Quebec knows it, because once you get a little higher, it's all tundra, and up there you get boreal forest, which is glorious in a whole different way, But I like sort of, in BC, you've got like the coast mountains, and then you've got the Rocky Mountains, like it's all craggy creeks and craggy peaks, and and evergreens. I'm into the evergreens. I like conifers. And that's my jam. I like pines, I like spruces, I like, cedars. I really like them. On the broadleaf side, I know a lot less. My tree ID is not nearly as good. I do like the birch. 2 reasons. I like carving it. For spoon carving, it to me is the perfect wood. But also, I think I've said this before. I like looking at a dark forest and then just seeing a ghost standing up. This white, or like a little stand of ghosts. So I definitely like the birch. Oh, and you can tap it. April, you can tap it and get some good stuff there. I guess my most recent, my fully bushcraft memory is my second video, I think it was, where I did the upside down fire. I like that because I was excited about transitioning from camping into actual bushcraft. I was excited about everything that was ahead of me, and I'm still kind of like that today. But what I liked about it was I had read about the upside down fire. And I was like, this weekend I'm going to make one. I'm going to do it on camera, and whether it works or not, that's what's going on. Because as you guys know, not everything I do works, and I do try when something doesn't work to put it up anyway. And I was thrilled when it actually worked. Like, if my longtime viewers remember that video, and I'm like, well, it's been burning for this long. That seems pretty good to me, and because I had no experience with that kind of fire before. Now I saw one guy putting dirt between the rocks just to slow it down even more. So I might like to try that as well. But that was a really good memory for me, I think. Because here I was doing something I'd never done before and it worked. And I feel like, okay, now I've got the starting of a new skill. I've got the beginning of something new here. And anytime I learn something new is a good day to me. Yeah, aside from that, I've got some cool stuff, but I think I've pretty much summed up what my favorites are. I really like my first time in the bush with my Australian woodlore clone. I really like that knife still. But that becomes more like, I could make this video go on for an hour, and then nobody's gonna watch it. I gotta be at like 11 minutes or something now. But yeah, I think that's all she wrote. Ron, congratulations on 1,000 subs. I'm really happy for you. I hope to join you there one day. Yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, guys.